Apex. It's great to be with you guys today. Again, it sucks that we can't see each other physically and we can't be together right now. It sucks, but at the same time, I've loved being able to see you guys on the Apex Lives and just having a conversation with you guys and just joking and laughing and trying to make the best of the situation. So guys, please keep tuning in on those platforms. We would love to just keep conversing with you guys. But we're going to dive straight in, and we're hoping this will encourage you today. But we're looking at this whole idea of being better together, being better together. And I want to take you way back to the beginning of the Bible, Genesis, where it simply says, it is not good for man to be alone. So Genesis 2:18. See, God had created the moon and the stars and the earth and the seas. And he created man, he created Adam, and he called these things good, but then he said that it wasn't good for man to be alone. And then when I read that, it started getting me thinking, like, why is it not good for us to be alone? Because I actually think sometimes solitude can be quite important. Solitude and being alone can really grow and stretch us, but it shouldn't be a permanent state for us. It shouldn't be a permanent state that we're always on our own. So why is that? So there were 4 things that got me thinking, and I'll just throw those out to you, and maybe this might resonate with you a little bit. So first thing, you begin to bottle things up. All the life experiences you've had, or the conversations you've had, or the negative things that are going on around you, you bottle up. There's no release. And eventually it bottles up and bottles up and bottles up and bottles up, and then you end up exploding almost. Or you end up looking for negative ways to outwork your hurt, or negative ways to outwork the things that are going on. Whereas if you were together with someone, or there was someone you could confide in, then it's almost like a slow release, and you can let go of the things that you've been holding on to and been trying to bottle up. So point 1, that you bottle things up. The second thing as well, there'd be no one to encourage you. There'd be no one to speak good words over you. I know for me, I love hearing words of affirmation, love hearing words of encouragement, and knowing I'm doing a good job. For some people, that might not be you, but I think ultimately we all know that it feels good to know that you're doing a good job. It feels good to know that you're having an impact. It feels good to know that you're worth something. It feels good to know those things. And it's great to speak them over yourselves, because I believe we all have impact and we all are doing something good, and we have the potential to do good. But there's something beautiful about other people, your friends, speaking specific good words over you. So if we were alone, we'd never have that. And there'd be so much pressure on us to do it. But it's beautiful when our friends can do that to us, and our friends can speak good words over us. So point 2, that you'd have no one to actually encourage you. But point 3, there'd be no one to pick you up when you fail, because we're all human. We've all fallen short before. We've all not quite met the standards that sometimes we set for ourselves. But if you had someone, they'd be able to pick you up and actually help you through, and actually encourage you again, and dust the dirt off your knees and the negative thinking you're having, and just tell you that there's more to life. It'll be okay. You're better than this. And it's crazy, because sometimes you can know that yourself, but it just helps when someone that's close to you, someone you confide in, actually tells you those words. It's almost as if the words that they're speaking are more true than what you already know. But it's crazy how much impact that someone speaking those words over you can have. But if you're alone, you'd never have that. You'd never have that person to help pick you up. And finally, another thing, I'm sure there are many more reasons, but these are just some that maybe resonate with me a little bit. That if I was alone, I'd have no one to laugh with or joke with. I think of when I see funny videos, and often I find them pretty late as well. I'm quite late to the trend. But when I find them, I want to share them with people. I want to laugh with people. I want to have joy with people. I feel like laughter grows when you see someone else laughing at something that you find funny. It's great. But if you were alone, you'd never have that. You'd never have the person to laugh with or joke with, or people to laugh with and joke with. And sadly, sometimes that's the case for us. And even in this season especially, it can be easy to fall into any of these categories, because we've got so much time, and it's so easy to not be together because we can't physically meet. But I want to give you some practical advice, some things that maybe have been beneficial for me, and hopefully were beneficial for you too. So point 1, one thing that you could do that's super intentional is reach out. You could be the one to reach out. I know sometimes our pride tells us no, because you're like, nah, I'm always checking up on this guy. I'm always the one. And it can be so easy to play the victim game, or play the woe is me game, that you're always the one reaching out. But at the same time, I'll just give you a picture. Jesus reached out. In Matthew 4, we get the picture. I say to get the picture. It literally says it plainly that he called his disciples. He saw them in what they were doing, and he was the one that reached out and said, "Be my disciple." They didn't come to him and say, "Jesus, can we follow you?" But he was the one that actually went out and said, "Be my disciple." And if Jesus, the one that we look to for all wisdom, the perfect example, is willing to reach out and not be prideful and humble himself, then why can't we do that? Why can't we be the ones that reach out? And you never know what reaching out could actually do for someone's life too. I think of how Jesus would have impacted the disciples' lives and how they went on to go and basically influence the world by starting the early church. And it simply started through Jesus reaching out to them. You never know what your reaching out could do to someone, or for someone, I should say. But another point 2, just do it. Just do it. We can be people of real intention. I'm a big believer in intention being good. And it's great when people say, "Oh, I meant to, I was going to. But then they never do. I'm a big believer that if you can't turn intention into production, then it ends up being wasted. So I encourage you guys, it's good to have the good intention, but make sure it's produced. Make sure there's a production in that. Make sure that the thought you had to check up on that person, you actually do it. And I know that it's difficult because sometimes the thought comes in the most awkward times. You could be midway through running your 100-meter sprint. You could be midway through your episode of whatever thing you're binging in this season. And maybe it's not the best time. You could be doing maybe it's just not the best time. But I encourage you, maybe set a reminder. All our phones are able to do that now. They're advanced enough to do so. So why don't you set a reminder for yourself just to say, "Oh, I'll check up on them when I finish doing what I'm doing." But please, guys, don't be people that just have good intentions, but make your intentions become production, good things coming out of it. And just like I said before, you never know what a conversation and the timing of a conversation could have in terms of the impact of someone's life. Like, you never know that the good words you speak in someone's life, what effect they could have at that moment if you choose to make intention production. But final point for you guys, just aim to encourage. See, 1 Thessalonians 5, it says this, paraphrase for me, it says, "Encourage and build one another up." See, encourage, build one another up. And banter's great, jokes are great, they're all good. And I'm never going to tell you not to do that. But at the same time, if someone feels at the end of a conversation that they're less good at the end of the conversation, then I feel like there's no encouragement there. They haven't been built up. I feel like when people end the conversation, they should feel like it was worth engaging in that conversation. So make sure when you have conversations and you're working this idea of being better together, make sure that people feel better of having the conversation because they feel encouraged by it than if they didn't have a conversation. So those 3 points again, just reach out. Make sure you don't be afraid to be the one to reach out. Just do it. Make sure intention becomes production. And then the last one, aim to encourage. Make sure that the words that you speak encourage people and just speak good words over people. So I just want to pray for you guys before I leave. But hopefully these words have encouraged you. So please bow your heads with me. Jesus, thank you so much that you want us to be together. You never called us to do life alone. I know sometimes we feel like we can, but I thank you that in you that we learn how we can actually be better together. So I ask that you help us in this season. If anyone is going through some of the things I mentioned earlier, provide people in their lives that will actually help them outwork the things they're going through. And for people that are listening, help us to be people that are willing to reach out. Help us to be people that are super intentional, but then turn that intention into production. And then help us to be people that encourage as well. Jesus, you're really good to us, more than we deserve. So we give you praise. In your name, Jesus. Amen. Well, guys, thank you so much for being patient with me and listening to what I had to say to you today. Hopefully that can be an encouragement to you wherever you are at during this time. But we love you, and we'll see you soon.